John was in town for work and he had asked me about running up to the Colorado Model Railroad Museum while he was here, so off for a road trip we went. Now when you arrive at the museum, the building across the street is an old UP passenger station that was at one time served by Amtrak, but is now the office of the Greeley Convention and Visitors Bureau. And when you enter the museum, you are greeted by a massive HO scale layout, as seen here from the upper veranda. With over 5,500 square foot of area, 80 scale miles of track, 500 locomotives, 28,000 trees, and thousands of other handmade scenery items, Michelle graciously offered to give us a behind-the-scenes tour, and we will visit some never-before-seen-on-video areas around and under the layout. Welcome to the Colorado Model Railroad Museum.
So this is our staging yard. Here's where I'll just start from the left and go across. These are backup locomotives that are quick access. We have cabinets of locomotives, but these are the ones you can come and grab very quickly if you need them, especially for our computer trains when we run those. That's really kind of what these are for. We also have our cleaning locomotive sets here, and these we run every morning. We pull them from here, and they pull these cars. Have you seen these?
Oh, yeah.
Put the alcohol in it, and then we use the high-tech kitchen towel on the back. And so that's what we do every day for track cleaning. We'll run those, a couple of them each morning. So that's what this is. This is also the entrance to a staging yard we had to build later. And so it's actually built inside the layout and kind of underneath it a little bit because we needed more space for those computer trains. So we'll go back in there later. But we cut out the wall here so you can see it. This was the original staging yard. So Dave thought he built the ultimate in staging, right? Because he had these tracks right here to here. And you can see there's like a seam here. He had to add these tracks almost immediately, these front two. Because he didn't build those, which made it skinnier in here. And then we had to add that yard because he still didn't build enough staging for what we needed. So, yeah. Okay, so in here we've got out-of-time trains on the back wall. Our year's 1975 for the Oregon, California, and Eastern Railroad here. Originally when I came here it was prototypical. It was very much OC&E, Western Pacific, Southern Pacific, maybe you might see a Great Northern, right? So it's all West Coast, it's a logging railroad, it's something Dave always wanted to build. So I come into the picture as the very first employee, and the first thing I say is, where's the Burlington Northern? I grew up in Nebraska on the BN line, where's the green and white? And he goes, we don't do that here, that's not prototypical, right? And so then I went outside and watched a train, and I said, where's the Union Pacific? We sit right here on the UP line. We don't do that, that's not prototypical. So give us the first summer where I was here, and the public started asking the same questions. Where are passenger trains? I rode a passenger train. Where's this? Where's that? We changed our name from the Greeley Freight Station back then to Colorado Model Railroad Museum. And when we did that, Dave also kind of had a philosophical change of, we're here for visitor experience. Yes, we have a prototypical railroad. We could just quickly change all these locomotives and we could go right back to it. But that's not what the public cares about. And visitor experience is about connecting with the train that you knew in your life. And so not only do we have two Burlington Northern Green consists right here, we have a Rio Grande consist. This is Union Pacific, it's out. We do still have our Southern Pacifics here. There's Western Pacific down there. We just made these OC&E ones. They were just custom made by volunteers, so we just put those back on. So you're going to see this mix. Because honestly, the public can care less if it's the OC&E. They've never heard of it. They don't know what it is. They just want to see trains they know. And so we typically run UP. We do not have BNSF because 75 you would only have BN. So our warehouse was actually built by the Burlington Northern. So we actually really like the green and white here now. We kind of honor that history because the track on this side that we've leased was Burlington Northern track after it was Colorado and Southern track. Here's our Rapido ski train. Isn't that beautiful?
That's just beautiful.
And then Spring Creek Mountain Trains gave us the other three cars that are their exclusives, and they're coming next weekend to give us their fourth exclusive car.
Wow.
So we have an event next weekend called Spring Creek Weekend. It should be fun. So the 7 trains that you see here, and this one is a new local, so they're still, yes, I love our handwritten out of service sign, that's super classy. That's very railroad, right?
Of course.
This is going to be a switching local that's going to go out to that yard out in the front and switch. It's about a 2-hour process and then come right back in here. And so we're building this switching train. So they're still working on it. I think we actually have to change some rail too to make it super efficient and effective. So that's why this one's out of order. But usually the 7 here and the 7 down there that go the other way are the 14 trains of the OC&E. They all have jobs, they do different things, and they can all be on the layout at the same time. So that's staging in an overview, in a nutshell, I guess this is. So he's ducking under. That's because his train's up there, and it's going to go to the other side very quickly. So we have these stairways that go underneath, so you can quickly go from one side of the layout to the other. Adrian, are you going to train in staging?
Yeah.
Which one do you have out?
Uh,
No, it's a little bit there. So he'll pass through. And then in here. Want to get biased?
yeah.
So back here he's got all the switches are his responsibility. There's no dispatching back here. So he's got to check it out. What are these Santa Fe's? Is this Carl?
I don't know.
That's not Carl. Those are new too. Look at them.
Yeah.
So is everything owned by the museum, all the rolling stock and everything?
This stuff here, yeah. These in the back. We actually have a lot of trains out of service right now. Because we're redoing a lot of stuff. We had this crazy idea to actually maybe change some things. Because we've been here for 12 years. You know, and it's like, we looked at the Railblazer, the cars were wrong. Okay, so let's fix it. Guess what? It's a 1983 train. But it's the Rio Grande train that everybody knows. And Dave actually, the man who built this place, actually put it on here with the wrong cars. And called it the Railblazer. So it's like, do we change the name or do we change the train? So we decided it's a little out of time, but it's okay. Because it's, again, visitor experience and volunteer experience. Because that one switches in 2 yards. So it's very fun. So we're making it right. So those cars are all being weathered. They'll be switched to 89s. Unless they already did it. Are they 50? They're still 50s. So we haven't done it yet. But we have them all here.
So not only do you have trains that just run, you actually have locals that go out and actually switch stuff.
Yeah,
That's cool.
there's some different. I think I counted 32 jobs. Some of them are built on the layout. Some of the trains are built on the layout.
Also, not everything comes through
Right.
here.
Right. So we have trains that are built in the yards and do things. We have some passenger service you can build. We have a doodlebug that you can run to the logging camps and back. And there's side switch. There's some steam stuff that you can do at the mines. There's a lot of stuff. So we have our fast walk. You know what that is, right?
okay.
Oh, just wanted to guess. Oh, there's our drawers. Sometimes when we have new volunteers to the hobby, what do you buy first? Locomotives, right? So our drawers, here you can open them. And we recently went through all this and we sold probably 150, 200 cars. Because they were just all redundant. And so now we've got them by the types of cars.
Wow.
So we're working on them. They used to just be full. And so now here's a reefer train if you want to build that. So these are ones that you can use for personal use. They're certified to run on the layout. I wonder if there's cabooses in there. Oh yeah, look. And then of course my trains are all here. But we locked them because all the locomotives are in there.
Oh.
So I don't have the key on me. But yeah, I've got my superhero cars, Christmas trains, the Hogwarts. Here's my Star Wars and my Star Trek trains are these two drawers. And yeah, it's all my weird stuff's in
Cool.
here.
So you do run that on the layout.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And one of our volunteers lit all the cars better than they did. Like when we get something, we have to pretty much gut it and rebuild it. Especially those, because those are the Hawthorne Village. They're basically crappy Bachman. Don't tell them I said that. You're not filming right now, right?
It is, but I can edit it out.
Okay, so they're Bachman trains, and
Yeah.
but they are not designed for a layout like this. They're meant for
Yeah.
home use, so we have to put different motors in them. We usually add lighting. I have a volunteer who's really good at them because he loves those trains and he owns a lot of them. And he has the Disney train in the front layout. Did you see our Christmas Village up front?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he owns that train. It's a personal train of his. see this board over here? This end is used to. And this is how you switch in here.
So it's completely separate?
It's connected if you use drop down bridge in there. But it wasn't in the original plan, so that's how they connected it. So this is where we do our importing and exporting of products, created or bringing in. The ships are actually full models, floating water, control operated, custom built by a volunteer that we lost a few years ago. So his family gave us the one he's done in British. So we have the up there. They're 100% scratch built by Dick Marshall. So this is where finally our product ends up. So we log it up on the mountain. We have sawmills in the front. We have a warehouse, a redistribution center in the middle of the layout. And then that train, there's a train that will pick up that product and bring it here so we can export it. So when I say we have jobs, the trains do stuff on the layout in between our industries. And then here's where we import whatever fluid we need, or gas. And we take these, so there's a train that'll come in with these and take them to the industries that need them. And then this ore train back here, Dave loved the Edmund Fitzgerald. Do you guys know? Okay, I'm impressed you know.
I'm from Detroit, so I know.
So I think the epitome of the 70s power ballad is that Gordon Lightfoot song about the Edmund Fitzgerald. Dave loved it, and he would do presentations. So Dave, who built this place, is 6'5" with a singing voice, right? So he built the Edmund Fitzgerald out here. I'll have to undo this for you so you can get out. Look it out. And he built it on a rolling display. And he put it back here, so we actually have an ore train that comes in and gets the taconite and takes it back out. So that's just another fun job. 1975 is the correct year, so we're still right there. But I started here in 2011 as an employee. I'd been a volunteer for the lawyer before. So I knew about the story. I'd heard it from Dave. He took it to, I think it was a Rotary group. And he came back and he said, Michelle, we're never taking it out again. And I said, why? It's great. I love the story. He said, no. Do you remember the story? He said, when it set sail, it had a work order for what? And I said, well, a Kraken hold number 7. And he said, come here and look. And at the time, I'll just show you. He says, look, count it back. He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And at the time, in 2011, the crack was like this big. He goes, I have a crack and it's going to break my ship. And so I've watched it over the last 10 years go down, under, up, and over and break the ship in half.
That's kind of creepy.
So I don't know why or how, or if it's a design flaw, or if it's what it is, but our ship broke where the original one did, and we didn't do it. Because I can totally tell you, I've watched it happen naturally over time. So we don't sail her anymore. Keep it right here, because we don't want to sink.
It's scratchbook up there,
And his transit. We don't use Digitrax, so one of our volunteers has taken the last year and completely gutted it and redone it with MCE. And this week, for the first time, I sat in the chair and I ran the camera train on the layout using the throttle. And it was super fun. And he's got good sound effects, so when you notch up, it totally sounds exactly like it should. It doesn't have the brake working yet, so you just got to notch down. But really, that's how throttles work too, unless you got a proto throttle. So we keep working on it. We'll eventually have it fully functional, so you can set in and totally control your train. So we're playing a movie right now with Bill's up there. But yeah, that's what our layout looks like from the camera. Should be really cool. And then sometime in the 50s, it came up onto the tracks on the west side of our building. The Colorado and Southern, it ran from Fort Collins to Greeley and all over northern Colorado. And in the 60s, when they sold it, a local guy bought it and put it on his farm. And then Dave talked him out of it and bought it back and brought it here. So we have it restored. She turned 100 in 2019, so we give her paint and carpet. And this is where we talk about defect detectors and bearings and why did we have a cupola. And we actually have a defect detector on the layout. If you hear it when you're out in the middle, we have one of those Boulder Creek Engineering defect detectors. So you'll hear it out in the middle of the layout. So we get to tell that whole story here. I'm sure you guys know why we had confusers, so we'll have to tell you that. Maybe you have Grand Bell, we've been trying to locate what locomotive and we can't figure it out, but we know it was one of the bigger ones. Yeah, so I think it would be a fun historic project. It came here through an interesting story. There's our big donor, Norm Lister Family Farms is one of our large donors. They bought us the warehouse, and they're about to put in fencing for us too. When he was young, I'm guessing in the 40s, he went to a university, And he was in a fraternity, and there was a church that would feed them lunch on Saturdays. And so somebody said, well, we need a bell to call us to lunch. So one of the church girls said her dad worked for the railroad, she'd bring a bell. So she brought this bell. So they had this Rio Grande bell to call them to lunch at their fraternity at UNC, right? Well, then their fraternity building was getting torn down, so Norm went and got it. And he put it in his church. And so there was a church down here on 8th Avenue that had this as their church bell for the next, 40 years. Well, then their church was going to sell, so again, Norm went and got the bell. And he took it home to his farm, and when Dave opened this building, he brought it in and donated because he wants to hear it ring. So you're allowed to ring this bell. If you ring it too many times, I might come over and be like, okay, if one ring's enough, we're good. But we do let people ring it because that's what the donor wanted. So
Go ahead, John.
Do you want to ring it?
No, it's okay.
You want to ring it?
Go ahead.
I'll ring it. I know how to ring it lightly.
Yeah, I did it.
Lightly. So most of our artifacts have fun stories like that, but you have to. But this is also the sound building. He has to wire at the top and around its space. He picks up the main 14 pounds. So, it's a fun thing. But then he did Idaho.
It's a fire. Yeah, the fire.
Dispatcher, this is what our control system looks like, and it's mirrored in there. But this, we're running in CTC mode, so he can see where the trains are though. But when the computer controls it, this is the software it uses. It was custom written in Visual Basic, I think, by Randy. And when it's in computer mode, you'll see all the trains that are running here, and you'll see their approved speed, their actual speed. And so he uses these steps of approved speed to make it look like it's got momentum to slow down appropriately so they don't just stop.
Yeah.
And so they go through whole series of speed changes throughout the layout. But yeah, so you can see it. Here's New Pine Creek where the computer came from. But this is all dark, that's our station.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of take this thing and pull it straight and here you go. Same thing here. So here's the log train.
Holding up the main.
Holding up the main, that's why we're the dispatcher is. This one does work appropriately, and we recorded all the sounds. So when you do change a switch and actually code it, you're going to hear the clickety clickety click click, and it is usually a 9-second delay. So if you code 14 things, you're going to sit here for a couple of minutes while it codes everything. And we put the time delay in just to be fun. Make it fun. There's our fast clock. Sometimes our dispatchers will actually do timesheets. It's up to our dispatcher how much detail they want to put in. If I'm here, I'm just lucky you get your train around late, right? So we're just moving on, guys. But sometimes they will actually do put out timesheets and do all of that. We do have our sheets here so they can get train lengths because we have to know personal train lengths. I don't know if you noticed the markers in the back where they can measure their trains before they go out. Because our 6 sidings are only so big. So we'll switch out, we'll take the fulls down, leave the empties up here. And then somebody could reverse that if they want to, but we also, all of our loads can come out, so we can also do it that way at the end of the day. Yeah. And here's where the snow shed is. It's so cool. And this is the computer training.
Oh.
That we had to add in later. So we built it down here. So there's 9 trains here that the computer can pull out and run on the way out.
I remember hearing you talk about that. That's amazing.
So it pulls from here. And
So you could just turn on the layout and it'll just do it.
Yep. Right now it looks like we got a personal train station in here too. But yeah. There's a computer program, you tell it which trains you want it to pull. And it has to know what they are, and then it'll run them around, and you can hit park, and it'll park them back in here.
That's amazing.
It's really nice. It's a very nice program. And this is under our mountain. It's like a room under here. You can go in there if you want.
Cool.
And it looks like our library.
Oh, look at all that foam. Oh my
There's
god.
a
Yeah,
whole
that
lot
light-
of fun.
That light was annoying me when we walked in.
Oh,
Look at
sorry,
all
was
that
that
foam. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so now you're under the mountain. And I will tell you, I was here for 10 years and never walked that way. See that? I always thought, oh, it's just electronic stuff. I don't need to go back there. But there's an entire room you can stand up under there, and we recently put our library in there. So we have a hidden library. Do you want to see it? You can turn the light on. I'll have to go first with the light. Now you gotta watch your head. You got his back. You got there's the light. It's right here. So I'm gonna find the button. You see that? Oh, I'm missing it. That one. Right there. And so we have an amazing library donated by Railfanning. We currently have a curator or a librarian working on it. We have some amazing books in here. This is Al Frank's collection, and these are some out of print, some amazing old books. And there's even the geological surveys of the Rio Grande Railroad. So, yeah, this is a treasure right here.
Hidden treasure.
And Al bought the bookcases, and we had them custom made to fit under the layout.
Cool.
So we could have this library. We've never had space for a library. And I never knew you could stand up under here. So, yeah, and if you go that way, you'll end up under the forest fire.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where our logging trucks are, which we're not running today, but we have follow car logging trucks, and this is their yard up here, and they actually run out and run along the mountain and come back in here. And this is
the
where you were
actual-
just standing, see?
The motor, the trucks that
Follow
go.
cars, yeah. So we have logging trucks, and so Cody runs them on Saturdays usually, and we have cars in town too. They're just not running today because there's not a volunteer running here.
Those are like,
It is high.
what we do, they're controlled by, what, like a power pack or something like that?
Yeah, well, you have a whole computer system for it. You have to turn the computer system on, and then in the town there's street lights, and they follow red, yellow, green lights, and they go through town on the other side. These on this side pretty much just do a loop and come back in.
Follow car system, is that what he's using?
Yeah. So anyway, you're the first person to film the library. There you go. We just got this.
That is so cool.
So we went down and got his books. Now we're trying to figure out how we organize it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really hard is working with a librarian that doesn't know railroads. And so I'm like, well, try to put all of one kind of railroad together, and then we'll sort them by Colorado history versus other history. So yeah, it's interesting. I think it's super fun.
Call the local librarian and say, hey, can we use some help?
Yeah, I have a girl who's a librarian who volunteers, and she comes sometimes on Saturdays and just sits down here all day and works on these books.
It'd be funny the first time we take them, like, you have to walk down there and be like, are you serious? Like,
I know.
This is a joke?
And I need to get her a rolling stool to set on. We do have a chair, but yeah, so she can roll around under here. And when the books all came in, we used these rolling carts to get them in here because they're so heavy. So we would roll them through.
Oh, so you could kind of creep over that.
Yeah, if you went out that side,
Gotcha.
you would be in the middle of the layout.
Wow.
But it is nice that there's over. All of our wiring is accessible. Yeah, he just needed to do it. So, hands off. He just donated it all, and that's it. He's a volunteer. He did before COVID, and he hasn't been back since then. And he's turned 80 this year, so I don't know if he'll come back or not. But he could, and he's just a volunteer when he comes. But he's just a wonderful person. So when I go to Pennsylvania, when I went in October, that was to see David. And so I'll try to go once a year or so and see them in Pennsylvania.
Does he still do like train stuff on his own? Or is
He buys and sells Lionel trains. And that's how he funded this place, buying and selling Lionel. He's like one of the leading experts in Lionel trains, and he built an HOA out.
That's funny.
So yeah.
There's something about Lionel that's just nostalgic.
Yeah, and he just loved it. Well, he owned a newspaper, and he would travel around the country, put ads where he was looks, and they change this like 4 or 5 times a year. Right now they're having shooting a movie, see it's like a movie set. And then here's all the mobile homes for the stars.
Lego subs.
They're so creative too. We had a Santa convention for Christmas this year, and it was like Santa's everywhere. It was super cute. This one has a train. Oh, they got an Old West train for the movie.
That is so cool.
Oh, look, they're popping up gunfighters. That's
Yeah.
super cute.
Oh yeah, they put stuff on the tracks for it.
To make that happen, yeah.
Now while we near the end of this video, I'm just showing some awesome shots of areas around the layout, and I'm constantly finding new things like these climbers on the cliff wall. But there's always new stuff to find, including, of all things, dinosaurs. So I hope you enjoyed the visit. Thanks again to the Colorado Model Railroad Museum and Michelle for giving us a behind-the-scenes tour of much of the layout. I couldn't just end the video there without some rail fanning, like this Union Pacific caboose. We also spotted UP Engine 3083 and SD70 Ace Tier 4 auto rack train that's tied down and split at the next grade crossing as we headed back south.
This other track's got a green, so there's something coming next to it. Someone's passing it.
Why not a quick trip in the Rocky Mountain Train Supply Store? Be sure to check them out. Their links are available in the info below. Hashtag not sponsored. Yet. But you never know what else you'll see in Denver, like the scrap metal Millennium Falcon, and how about a few more UP engines. So until the next time, please comment, like, and subscribe for future videos.